Hello witches, welcome back to the channel. This is Hectarios. Today's topic, I want to talk about power again. So I've covered this topic a few times on the channel already, and I have, of course, continued to advance and learn on my path and my personal journey. So I have new information and insights I would like to share, basically. And this video has been coming along since January of this year, and I've been experimenting with some stuff and just studying and learning in this avenue of power, and I want to share some of the things. Excuse me. I might as well also let y'all know I have been sick. That's why I've been away from YouTube for a while. Or one of the reasons why. But anyway, I will also be back with tarot readings and all of that coming up. But I wanted to share some of the insights and lessons, and also just things I'm experimenting with right now on this topic of power. So first, if you already saw my recent Facebook post about power going back to January, I basically said quite a bit of what I'm about to say now in this video, so you'll just be hearing it again if you already saw the Facebook post. But there is also going to be other information in this video. So, power is defined in physics as the amount of work that you can do in a certain duration of time. So, as to say that something or someone who can complete a certain amount of work in a shorter time period, rather the exact same amount of work in a shorter time period, is considered more powerful because it's more efficient, it's completing more, or rather it's completing the same amount of work but just much quicker, so it can then move on to something else and whatever, etc. But that is how physics defines power, and I just thought that was interesting, and I wanted to share that. Let me see what else I wrote here. It's just kind of so much, so I have to write it down so I can say it in order. So, maximizing your power. In the practical sense, power as defined by physics, maximizing your personal power is about efficiency, time management, focus, discipline, mastery of your time, and mastery of your effectiveness at all tasks, so as to increase your freedom and your free time, which you can then use to do other tasks and other work. And that's what makes you more powerful, because you're able to do more and basically have freedom of your time to use how you want, so that, I was going to kind of go off on a tangent on that, but I'm not. The second note that I put is that power relates to wisdom, knowledge, and skills, which increase your ability to develop useful techniques, strategies, and approaches to the work that you're doing or the task that you're doing. So, just to clarify that, why I use the physics equation is because at that level, everything that you do is an expression of your power. So, you know, any act of your will in reality, in your life, and anything that you're doing is an expression of power. It's just how much or how little power, or how strong or how weak is that power. So I just wanted to add that in real quick. So back on the topic of the strategies and techniques, though, I say power relates to wisdom and knowledge and skills because the more that you learn about anything, really, the more that of a level of mastery that you have to interact with it and manipulate it and different things like that. So you can do it a lot faster, and you can do it right the first time and things like that, which all increases it. The third note that I put, this one is kind of long. Power is cyclical. Okay, so as all things in nature are, our personal power, and us as people are also, we have cycles and patterns to our lives and our existence. And our power is also subject to that universal law of cycles. It waxes and wanes, or at least it is possible for it to. And because of the universal laws of change as well, your power is also prone to change. So I brought that up because that's an important topic to talk about as well when we're covering the topic, the greater topic of power itself, is that through the cycles and courses of your life, your power can change. So, you know, for instance, whenever I began getting into witchcraft, I excelled in certain areas of spell casting and magic. But over time, as I grew in my craft, my talents veered more to divination and things like that, spirit communication, and, you know, just the process of existing has changed my power, so to speak. I can still do the other things, but where my strengths and weaknesses lie. And I'm using that as an example because it will be the same for you, or it can be the same for you. Your strengths and weaknesses will change over time, and that just applies to your whole life. But to relate this, you know, to the channel and to witchcraft and stuff, it also applies to that, and your talents and all of that, and abilities and skills, and just where you are, what you're working with, who you're working with or not. All of that has an effect on your continued development in the present and in the future, and that all has an effect on your power. So I thought that was important to bring up as well. And back on the topic of cycles, I said that power can ebb and flow with the cycles, habits, and patterns of your life. So in this aspect, again, we have to talk about self-mastery and self-discipline, because these are talking about basically your daily routines, those type of cycles and patterns that you're just living in, and sometimes you can be swept away in other people's cycles and patterns, and sometimes you can unconsciously be living in a cycle or a pattern. So, as with the aim, with all of this, mastery is the aim at all times. So even I mean, even at that level, you need to analyze and understand and just have self-knowledge of what you're doing, what you're participating in, or what you're not doing, and then understand and use self-discipline to change that cycle and change that routine or that habit or whatever it is. And that will increase your power as well. Okay, because what you're going to do is you're going to want to change your routines and your cycles and your patterns from anything that you're doing unconsciously or that's affecting you, negatively, or that you don't want. And you can change your behavior, your daily routines, all of that stuff to work for you instead of against you, or just at random. Have it to work for you to increase your power. Okay. So, I also noted down that you should look at this as investing in your self-growth, basically. Because from the aspect of mastery, you're going to want to use your time to invest in perfecting yourself. Whatever talents and skills that you do presently have, you want to put your energy and your time and your work and your power into expanding that and amplifying it and making it grow, whatever that is for you at this time in this cycle of your life. So in that aspect, like I said, you're making time work. You're making your cycles work for you, but you're also making time work for you, because time is all passing us by anyways. So if you can create your daily patterns and routines and cycles to, be doing things that are investing in you and in your growth, then it's just the laws of nature. Your time is going to work for you. You will grow and gain. So I just wanted to also add that perspective in there, if you want to look at it from that aspect. Okay, moving on to the next notes. So, I think I just revisited again that power does change. You have cycles of peak performance, and then you have periods of rest and recharging. Okay, we all have that. No matter what part of the cycle that you're in right now, you can always increase your power by learning and developing your skills and abilities, and new skills and abilities to further perfect yourself. So even if you're in a period right now where you are not at your peak level, or you're not where you want to be, you can still increase the power that you do have right now by developing the skills that you have. And once again, like I said, whatever areas that you do want to focus your self-growth right now, focus on those areas and start bettering yourself in those areas, and it will just begin to flow. So I did also add that mastery is always the goal through the highs and the lows, and that's just in regards to what I just previously said. Even when you're in your low periods, you still want to have conscious control to an extent over what's happening to you and what's happening with your power. So even if you're in a low period right now, you're going to want to use your mastery and discipline to focus on the skills and things that you want to develop and just start building that up. Okay. Now, I added this in here because I've been seeing some people talk about this recently. As a matter of fact, since January, when I first started going through this kind of little area of study and research about power, I noticed that a lot of people were talking about it as well, and kind of experiencing this feeling of kind of being in one of the low cycles of their energy level right now and of their power level. And I'm sorry, I hit my knee on my desk. But I just saw some people talking about that, and I saw someone post about it literally right before I was going to make this video. So I decided to add this in here because if you are at a low time with your power level or just in life in general, because like I said, everything I'm talking about in this video it applies to your practical, mundane life and your spiritual, magical life, because it's the same laws of the universe and nature, just applying them to different aspects. But if you are at a low time in your life in general as well, you want to seek out inspiration during that time, because you want to have the goal and the aim of mastery during your highs and your low times. So if you're in a low time in any area of your life, you want to find inspiration and not just kind of unconsciously experience that low time or just allow it to just remain unattended or just letting it stagnate like that. What you want to do is apply your mastery and discipline and start trying to tend to that area by, once again, whatever it is that will contribute to your self-growth in that area. Start doing that with your time, studying, researching, whatever it is, studying under a master, go to school or take schooling for whatever it is that you're trying to grow, and that feels stagnant. Alternatively, you could just pursue something else that does inspire you and motivate you, and just kind of let that have a break, because a lot of times when you walk away from something, you will end up having insights about it later on, or when your mind has moved on to something else. The answers and the way forward and the inspirations and motivations will just come in when you take your mind off of it. So I just thought I would add that in here as well, because once again, that person's comment, and I've seen other people talking about this. So I said you can't always stay motivated and inspired by the same things, but you can always find inspiration for something. So that was the point I was trying to make a minute ago. You can burn yourself out by being inspired and motivated and driven towards the same goal or towards the same end. When you've been doing it for so long, you can burn out. And once again, that's your cycles of power. Just reaching a low point, and it needs to recharge, and you need to recharge. And the way that you're going to do that is by either finding new inspiration in that same area, or finding inspiration and motivation for something else. And so just to give you a very practical and simple example of what I'm trying to say is that if you feel yourself burning out on some project or some task or some goal, you can step away from it and let yourself relax and have fun and recharge. But as I was saying, you can let yourself relax and recharge and have fun and kind of just let the universe heal you and recharge you. And when that is accomplished, new insights, inspirations, and motivations will come in after that and continue your journey. But once again, alternatively, you could also, if you're experiencing a low time or a low period of power, what you can do is seek out, new magic and research and study spirituality and your spiritual advancement and growth, and whatever does draw your attention. And, just go towards that. Because the final note that I put for this video is basically about using your spells and rituals to increase your power. So this is kind of the spiritual and magical aspect of all the practical stuff I already have said in the beginning of this video. Just apply it to the magical and the spiritual aspect. You can find lots of different traditions of magic and witchcraft and spirituality, and even in religion. Just kind of looking into those, or at least what calls to you or what piques your interest, can trigger an entire new cycle for you of gaining more power and gaining more wisdom and understanding, which still also does increase your power because it increases your effectiveness. And once again, your effectiveness and your efficiency reduces the time it takes you to do work, as the physics equation calls anything that you do that you can do. So let me just glance over this one more time and make sure. Basically, continually study, research, and learn both practical skills and knowledge, and magical and spiritual knowledge, and seek out, use, and create magic and spells that further your growth and advancement. So you can use magic to further your talents and your work and career and all of that. You can also use magic to further your own advancement in your spiritual path and your abilities and whatever it is that you're doing, spiritually and magically. You can cast spells to refine and enhance your abilities and your talents and skills and powers. So there's no limit on that. Your own creativity is basically in charge of doing whatever you do with your magic in that regard when it comes to using magic on yourself. This is ancient. It's part of self-alchemy and self-transformation and apotheosis and all of that. Use your magic on yourself, investing it in a way that's creating more perfection and mastery for you. And you can do that at any time in your life, in any cycle, at any phase. You can continuously do that. And that really is mastery, y'all. So that's going to end this video, because that's basically all the notes that I wanted to point out. And my camera's going to cut off again because of the stupid time limit. So I'm going to leave it at that. I will do the video request that someone asked in a recent comment, if I will do a video on a love obsession spell. I'm going to go ahead and do that and share that coming soon, and I will be continuing with my tarot readings and all of that. Thank you all for being patient. Thank you everyone who reached out to me and who's also been talking with me on Facebook and stuff. I love you guys, and if you've not watched my channel before, please like and subscribe. And I hope that you will be part of the community and also comment and contribute in discussions. That's going to be all for this video. Hail Hecate, hail to the witches, and blessed be.